Hi everybody, this is Agnes from No Sediment, and today let's talk about sorcery that I use in my videos, Coravin, the system that lets me pour wine without really opening the bottle and how to choose the right one for you. Quite often I do tastings on my videos, both blind and open label, and I can taste as much as 8 wines in one sitting. And when I reveal the wines, most of the bottles still have corks in place and at first glance do not really look opened. So almost immediately I receive a bunch of comments saying that I have not actually tasted the real wine and that it is all just an act because the bottles are closed. And I always reply politely, no, it is because I use Coravin. Truth be told, when this product appeared on the market, I was very fortunate. As the winner of the Latvian Sommelier Championship, I received the very first Coravin model as one of the prizes. So I was able to experience it from the very beginning. And being my critical self, I of course was being critical. I used it a lot, and for some bottles it worked perfectly, while others were more sensitive. But it was only when I broke it that I realized how important it had become for my everyday studies, training, and simple enjoyment of wine. Because in reality, if you use Coravin correctly, and if the wines you usually enjoy are 20 euros and more, you can save a significant amount of money by extending the drinking period of each bottle. So I broke mine and set out to buy new Coravin, but by then it was no longer as simple as it used to be. They were no longer offering just one Coravin in different colors. They were offering different options altogether. So today, let's look at different Coravin models and which one you should choose. Full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Coravin, but you do not see me making a lot of sponsored videos, and since I have been using Coravin for the last 10 years, this felt like a natural fit. The two Coravin models I have here is Timless 3+ and Timless 6+. First things first, both models work on the same principle, allowing you to enjoy different wines by the glass at home without having to open the bottle in the traditional sense. You insert a thin needle through a cork, and as you pour, the bottle is filled with inert argon gas. That means you can have a glass of different wine with each course at home, or compare wines at tastings or studies, or simply enjoy a glass with friends or fellow wine lovers, without putting pressure on anyone to finish the bottle. So the function is the same, but the two models are priced differently. So where does the difference really lie? The first thing you notice is the design. For me personally, my first Coravin had the design similar to Timless 6, so I simply feel more comfortable with it. I also love being able to choose a color for my Coravin, and I was very fortunate that they had a limited edition in the No Sediment color, which has been the Coravin I use for all my YouTube recordings. Now, if the Timless 3 would have been only in white color, the choice between the two would have been very easy to me. Because I have worked with white Coravins, and no matter how rigorously you clean them, just look at my teeth after the Decanter World Wine Awards tasting. If the majority of wine you drink is red, the connecting parts will show some stains. But the Timless 3 is available only in black, and if you do not care about having a specific color or a slightly fancier look, and function is all that matters to you, then you are probably best off with the Timless 3. Next, the accessories, and this is where those more practical people like me have to take out their calculators. Because the Timless 6 comes with way more accessories, and some of them might be more useful to each of us than others. Timless 6 comes with 3 argon gas capsules, while Timless 3 comes with 2. Now, argon capsules are something you will eventually need to buy anyway if you are planning to use the system actively. So in my opinion, that is a great extra. Then there are screw cups. With Timless 6 you get 6, with Timless 3 you get only 2. Now, I would want to tell you that 2 is enough, because really, how many screw cup bottles are you going to keep under Coravin at the same time, right? But in reality, 2 is not much. First of all, these screw cups will not last forever. On average, they are intended for around 50 needle insertions, and after that, you may start to feel happier with a new one. Beyond that, I have also run out of them because too many of them were in use at the same time, and I had to make a wine sacrifice decision. So for me personally, an inventory of only 2 Timless screw cups is simply too little, and I know I would eventually end up buying more. As for other accessories, I have never broken a bottle while Coravining wine, so I have never used a bottle sleeve. Maybe I should, for safety. There's always a first time. The aerator you get with both models. The carry case that comes with the Timless 6, though, I actually did use a lot when I had only one Coravin system and was moving between my studio and my home. You know, I had that trauma from breaking my first Coravin, so I was trying to keep it safe in my bag. But now that I have 2, one at home and one in my studio, I don't use it as much anymore. When it comes to additional accessories that are not included in the packaging, you might want to watch my other video on Coravin tips because there I talk about needle size. Both of these models support vintage needle, which has always been my primary choice. I love my wine too much, and I am willing to sacrifice a few extra seconds while pouring in order to get a longer preservation period afterwards in the bottle. Sturdiness. Now, I have not used Timless 3 as much as I have used Timless 6 or my first model. But from what I can say, as long as you do not drop it from a table, it is very sturdy. I have a friend who used to represent Coravin in my market, and whenever something was wrong or I had broken needle again, his first reaction was always that I had done something wrong. In his mind, Coravin was indestructible. So which one should you choose? Essentially, the choice comes down to 2 things. How much money are you willing to invest in your Coravin right now, and how actively are you going to use it? And I also think it makes sense to calculate the average price of the bottles you enjoy. Because if you're mostly looking to extend the life of everyday wines that do not cost that much, and you always finish your more expensive bottles because they are so damn delicious, then you might want to consider which Coravin model plus the cost of argon gas really makes sense compared to the cost of wine. But if you are anything like me, if you love comparing different wines and different vineyards and you rarely finish a bottle in one sitting, then Coravin might significantly reduce the amount of wine you leave for cooking sauce, if you know what I mean. So for me, that is really the dividing line. If you want the simpler, functional option and you do not need extras, the Timless 3 will probably be enough. But if you know you are going to use Coravin actively and know you will want the extra accessories anyway, the Timless 6 starts to make much more sense. And if you're considering purchasing one of the Coravin models, use the link in the description. It will not cost you anything extra, but it will support the channel. We also have to talk about another Coravin system that, in my opinion, had a huge influence on the availability of sparkling wine by the glass in restaurants and bars, and that also allows you to expand the enjoyment of sparkling wine at home. Coravin Sparkling. And in all honesty, this is probably one of the most important innovations for sparkling wine lovers everywhere. I have had experience with different sparkling wine preservation systems. Some of them were so big that I had to be installed on the wall and could not be moved. Despite their hefty price, not a lot of them worked so well. You can also get variety of stoppers, often provided for free by sparkling wine producers, and some perform better than others. But in reality, none of them has ever worked that well. And if you wanted to serve a good sparkling wine by the glass, one still full of bubbles and life, you had to rely on fast turnover. For me, that was always the reason why I was super cautious ordering champagne by the glass in quiet places. It is by no means cheap wine, so you really want it to be perfect. Now, Coravin Sparkling works in a way similar to that fancy system installed on the wall. It not only seals the bottle, but it also introduces CO2 gas. But what really makes it unique, in my opinion, is the huge stopper we put on the bottle. I once had a situation at home while enjoying a glass of champagne. When I wanted to put the stopper on and fill it with CO2, I realized that the capsule was empty and I didn't have a spare one in my cabinet. It was late in the evening, so what can you do but push the stopper on the bottle and hope for the best? A week later, I opened the same bottle again, and I kid you not, the bubbles were preserved perfectly. And Coravin Sparkling is one of the reasons we can serve Krug by the glass at our venue. It is very expensive offering, so naturally we want the second and third glass of champagne to be just as good as the first one. In addition to that, Coravin Sparkling has allowed me to compare different sparkling wines side by side in a way that previously was not simply realistic. It was also the only reason I could make a video on 3 decades of Dom Perignon and compare the vintages, as I felt safe knowing that the wines would not go to waste afterwards. The only downside is that Coravin Sparkling comes as a set with only one stopper. That works for those who simply do not want to finish their sparkling wine and would like to enjoy a glass or two another day. But for me personally, as I said, I like to compare styles, and for my YouTube videos, I often open more than 2 bottles, so I feel safer having at least 3 stoppers at home. If I could not afford Coravin Sparkling system, I would probably still buy Coravin stoppers. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section below if you use Coravin, and if so, what has been your experience? Meanwhile, make sure to watch this video next.